Conference, can I now welcome Alec Rowley, MSP, Deputy Leader of Scottish Labour Party, to address conference.
Conference, it is good to see so many members and supporters here today and the organisations that have joined us in the exhibition area. It was also good this morning to hear from the leader of Glasgow City Council, Frank McAvity. And you know, listening to Frank, it reminded me that across Scotland, it is Labour councils and it is Labour councillors that are on the front line of protecting vital jobs and services. Jobs and services that have been put at risk as a result of John Swinney's austerity budget. So this morning, let us join together and by asking you to put your hands together and recognise all the Labour councillors across Scotland and all the hard work that they do day in and day out. Conference, as we meet here today, it is clear that we have a great deal of work to do if we are going to shift the polls and persuade the people of Scotland to vote Labour on the 5th of May. But I would say to you today, it is important that we do that work. As candidates, as members, as councillors, as supporters, we must take our discussion about the kind of Scotland that we want and the kind of Scotland that we want to build into every community across Scotland. And let us be clear, we will work every day until that vote in May. Our message is clear. It is that Labour stands up for people and communities, and it is Labour that is standing up for Scotland. In these last few months, it is Labour in Scotland, under the leadership of Kezia Dugdale, that has shifted the debate to focus on the future of Scotland. We have moved the debate away from grudge and grievance to a place where we're talking about the kind of Scotland we can have and the kind of Scotland that we want to have. And from talking about anti-austerity to using the powers of our Parliament here in Scotland to doing something about austerity, using the powers to invest in Scotland's future, to invest in children, in nurseries, in schools, in colleges, in people, and investing in people's future. For our goal, our purpose must be a fairer, more just Scotland where everyone, regardless of birth, has the chance to succeed. My desire, my ambition throughout my life has been to live in a society where there is no longer the haves and the have-nots, but instead a society where everyone, no matter what family they're born into, no matter what circumstances they're born into, they have an equal chance to achieve their full potential. We want to create a society where if you are unable to work and provide for yourself, there is a social security system that will support you along with a minimum income. A society where if you're able to work, then you will work and you will earn a fair pay and be treated with dignity and with respect in the workplace. That is why I joined the Labour Party. And you know, that is why it is the Labour Party that is standing up for Scotland and for the people of Scotland today. Now, you may say, surely that is what all parties want in the 21st century. But the evidence would suggest something otherwise. Take George Osborne's budget this week. Not only did he do nothing to address inequality, he created more unfairness, even more unfairness by delivering tax cuts for the better off and spending cuts for everyone else. And if you don't believe me, then ask Ian Duncan Smith. Now, I say to you today, Duncan Smith is gone. But the attacks on the disabled must go, and indeed the Tories themselves must go. That must be our message. You know, it was Nelson Mandela who said that poverty is not an accident. Like slavery and apartheid, it is man-made and it can be removed by the actions of human beings. Sadly, the actions of the Tories are making poverty worse in our country. As the Trussell Trust said recently, the UK government are trying to find ways of eating into national debt while people are just trying to find ways to eat. Is it not a disgrace, a national disgrace, that in Scotland in 2016 we have food banks in almost every community across Scotland? People dependent on charity to feed themselves and their families. So today, let us be clear and say loud and clear, we reject Tory austerity, we reject Tory welfare policy in this country. The Tories have no ambition for Scotland, no hope for Scotland. All they offer is cuts and more cuts, failed economic policy. And be crystal clear, it is not just the Tories in Westminster that are for handouts for the rich, while attacking the old, the disabled, the young and the vulnerable. They also sit in the Scottish Parliament and they defend failed austerity that inflicts misery on Scotland and damages Scotland day in and day out. So whilst the Tories in London and the Tories in Edinburgh attack the poor, we will attack poverty. But other parties have a choice. Are we going simply to jump up and down and complain? Or are we going to use the powers of our Parliament in Scotland to do something about it? Labour in Scotland is clear. We say we are going to do something about it, and we will use the powers of our Parliament to take a different course, to take a different direction for Scotland. We must use the benefit system to help to support people, not drive them into desperation. You cannot starve people back to work. You must provide support for people. We need a social security system based on respect for those it aims to help, treating people with dignity and focusing on increasing people's opportunities and people's choices. I'm always reminded that throughout the history of the Labour movement, the Jarrow Marchers, the Upper Clyde sit-ins, the miners' strikes in the 1980s. These people did not march for jobs, for benefits. They marched for jobs. And today, our ambition must be to use all the powers at our disposal to get the skills, the opportunities and the jobs for everyone right across Scotland. It was Labour that created the welfare state, founded for an economy where people needed help. When people were out of work, they would get that help. Today, we need a welfare state that helps people and equips people for the modern economy. That doesn't just mean giving people money when they lose their job. It means giving them support, giving them training, giving them the skills so that they can get another job. The key issue is jobs, good jobs, jobs for young people, jobs for the long-term unemployed, jobs that are quality jobs, jobs that will last, jobs that we can build our future and the future of Scotland around. And that is why we are saying that we are putting fair and full employment at the heart of our vision for the future of Scotland. Scotland needs a revolution in skills and in the economy. We need to use the powers of the Scottish Parliament to build Scotland's future. In 2007, the Scottish Parliament will gain new powers over welfare, employment support and government work programmes. We aim to use those powers to chart a different course for Scotland and for Scotland's future. We propose the creation of strategic sector forums in Scotland to bring employers, government, trade unions and other stakeholders together. These new forums will oversee and drive productivity, procurement, investment to ensure that the skills, the training and the apprenticeships that are needed in Scotland are delivered in Scotland. These forums will be established in all key sectors, including energy, tourism, housing, oil and gas and manufacturing. We will also invest in Scotland's development bank, £50 million a year in new capital for the lifetime of our Parliament, allowing it to expand its scope and attract more funds for industrial development and to grow Scotland's businesses. We will establish a new Skills Scotland. This will combine the powers and the resources of Skills Development Scotland, Scottish Enterprise, the Work Programme and the proceeds of the Apprenticeship Levy. The focus must be about Work Scotland. The drive must be about Job Scotland. Everyone who can work should be able to get a job. No one left behind on a life of worklessness. Working with our schools, with our colleges, with our universities, there will be a clear focus on building the capacity Scotland needs to provide full employment and fair work. Within the framework of the new Skills Scotland, we will set up regional economic and skills partnerships led by local councils, led by local authorities, with a remit for bringing the economy to life, with training and for those seeking work, lifelong learning for those in work, and good, well-paid, sustainable employment for our communities. These bodies will coordinate training and enhance skills to meet the needs of local economies. They will be charged with promoting the social economy, social procurement by local and Scottish governments, and they will coordinate the activity of local major stakeholders towards a common purpose, increasing skills and increasing jobs in every community. They will also work and support workplace and mutual ownership, cooperatives and business start-ups, as well as helping existing businesses to locate, to grow and develop within local areas, in every local area. And this will bring a renewed vigour to driving Scotland's economy and support for Scotland's workers at a national, at a regional and at a local level. Having a job is a key priority, but it is also crucial that government takes and accepts responsibility for ensuring fair work and fair pay. Is it not a scandal that in 2016 in Scotland, 60% of all children in poverty have a parent in work? That is why we say our ambition for Scotland must be to become a living wage nation. To do this, we will establish a living wage commission to drive forward our ambition so that no one in Scotland is paid below the living wage. Because, you know, the reality in Scotland today is that Scotland's economy is not keeping pace with global change. Our industries are left to fend for themselves, and our people are being denied access to the skills they need to succeed. That is why we say we will choose to use the powers of the Scottish Parliament to build Scotland's future. Let us not forget the SNP have been in power for 9 years. And they say, judge us by our record. Well, what is the record when it comes to skills, training and jobs? Unemployment higher than the rest of the UK. Manufacturing workers being laid off at the rate of 100 a week. Tens of thousands of jobs going in the North Sea and in communities around it. In factories up and down Scotland, jobs are being lost. And alongside that, nothing to tackle the deep-rooted generational unemployment, poverty and deprivation that is far too common in far too many of our communities across Scotland. The SNP have made their choice for Scotland. Their choice, cutting education by 10%, slashing college budgets, opposing the living wage for public sector contracts, and failing even to stand up for blacklisted workers. These are not... Those are just 4 choices the SNP have made that our Scottish Labour Party would never have made. They say they are progressive, but we know from what they say that when it comes to it, they may talk left, but they fail to act when the country needs them. They have spent the last decade attacking Labour when they should have been attacking poverty. attacking Labour when they should have been attacking fallen standards, attacking Labour when they should have been attacking fallen standards in education, attacking Labour when they should have been attacking the crisis in our National Health Service. You know, in Scotland today, we have a housing crisis. Not my words, but the words of Shelter Scotland. And at the same time, building industries tell us that we have a skills shortage, a shortage of brickies, of plumbers, of joiners, indeed a shortage of most trades in the building sector. In our communities, we have a GP crisis. Not my words, but the words of the Royal College of General Practitioners. We simply do not have and have not been supporting and training enough GPs. In many health boards across Scotland, there is a shortage of consultants. And those same boards are telling us that they're also finding it difficult to recruit trained and qualified nurses. In schools across Scotland, education authorities cannot recruit teachers. We have a teachers' shortage. And in companies up and down Scotland, they cannot recruit engineers and skilled labour, so there is a shortage in engineering. Yet across Europe and across the world, there are recruitment agencies trying to find skilled workers to come to Scotland in order to fill Scotland's skills gap. So on training, on skills, on investing in Scotland's greatest asset, its people, the SNP government's record is not just one of arrogant complacency, it is one of abject failure. So I say to you, they would not be attacking Labour if they were proud of their own record. They are attacking us to deflect from their record. But let us be clear, it is Labour that exposes their failure. It is Labour that exposes their failure to support and to create jobs. Their failure to give young people the education and the educational and skills opportunities they and their economy needs. And it is only Labour that has the vision, the drive and the determination for a more fair, a more just and a more equal Scotland for everyone in Scotland. At every turn, with every choice they make, they drag us further and further away from the kind of Scotland that we want to live in. They drag us further and further away from the Scotland of progress and the Scotland of opportunity. But conference, I know where we stand, and I know the choice we would make for our country. And that is why I'm proud to say it is our vision for the future of Scotland that is the correct vision for Scotland. In the coming weeks, all of us in this hall and many more outside will be working hard to share our vision to make sure that Scotland sees our passion for the future of our country. I am proud to be here with you. I am proud to be Labour, and I am proud to be on the doorsteps to ask people to vote Labour. So never in Scotland has the divide between the parties been clearer. The SNP do nothing for the poor, while the Conservatives make the position of the poor worse. And Labour standing up our historic mission in society, the eradication of poverty and unemployment, and setting out very clearly how we will use the powers of our Parliament to do this, to achieve a better, more fairer Scotland. So I say to this conference, hold your heads high. We will not let the people of Scotland down. The Tories will fight against the poor. We will fight against poverty. The SNP will do nothing for the unemployed. We will fight unemployment. I stand for a Labour Party whose policy is Home Rule for Scotland. A Scotland that has its own strong Parliament, and a Scotland that will use the powers of that Parliament to create opportunity and prosperity for all of Scotland's people. So let us repeat the message from now until polling day. Vote Kezia Dugdale. Vote your Labour candidate. Vote for the party, the one party of and for Scotland and for the people of Scotland. Vote Labour. Thank you.